Nagash, the first necromancer. Neferata, the first vampire. These are two of the most important characters for the undead in the old world. It's a bit weird then bar the end times, they've already had one other appearance each. Yeah, so let's start with Nagash, who first appeared in the Undead Army book from 4th edition. And yeah, that'll be his last rule set until the end times. So, stat-wise, movement 6, weapon skill 7, bliss skill 7, strength 7, toughness 7, rune 7, initiative 6, attack 6, leadership 10, and 750 points. So we'll start with special rules first, as these are fairly standard. He causes terror, is immune to psychology, and is a level 4 necromancer lord. So he can cast necromancy spells multiple times as long as he has the power cards to do so. Want to get multiple curse of years off? You do that! Also, for those who aren't aware, in 5th edition and 4th edition, the magic system used power cards to cast spells, to spell spells, and other things as well. Oh yeah. Now, what about his magic items? Well, he has 4 unique ones. The Black Arm Nagash gives him a 4+ MI save against anything, including magic and war machines. Very handy. Mortis, the Great Blow of Nagash, grants him +1 strength, and any wounds he causes in combat with it, he can use to heal any wounds he's lost in the game. Very nice. The Book of Nagash raises his magic level by 1, so while he normally cap at 4, it makes him 5, so he knows 5 spells now, and has an easier time with dealing other wizard spells. Finally, he has the Staff of Power. This also helps with him with this, as it lets him store up to 4 magic cards, bar the total power and drain magic cards, in it, to be used when Nagash feels like it. It also starts with 1 stored in it right from the get-go. And that is 4th edition Nagash. And he came out swinging. He's an excellent spellcaster, a great stat line, good in combat, and decent survivability. Yeah, you stick him in the undead unit of your choice, and very nasty thing to deal with. And I'll be honest, a lot of people look at his model and go, he's goofy. I've always kind of liked it. But yes, that's the last we'll hear of Nagash till the end times. So, let's move over to 5th edition, where Vampire Counts and Tomb Kings split up. And hello, Neferata again, who tried to replicate the elixir that Nagash made, and almost succeeded. Just had the slight issue of causing vampirism. Whoops. So yes, she's Queen of the Lamian bloodline, who first showed up in 5th edition Vampire Counts book. She was 700 points, movement 6, weapon skill 8, bliss skill 6, strength 7, toughness 6, runes 4, initiative 9, attacks 4, leadership 10. Equipment-wise, she has a serpent head staff that doesn't have anything special, but she does have 3 magic items. The Dagger of Jet allows Neferata to reduce the strength, toughness, or attack value of the model she wounds with it by 1 point for each wound she causes, to a minimum of 1. The Ruby of Lamia grants her the ability to automatically regenerate the first wound she suffers each phase. However, after each use, roll a d6 and add 1 for each wound it has regenerated over the course of the game. Once you roll 7+, it stops working. Also, if she, say, took exactly 4 wounds or higher, the Ruby will not work. Anything that kills her outright, it doesn't protect against. She also has Bastet, her familiar, which at the start of each of her turns, she sends to an enemy unit. She can't do the same unit back to back, but while a unit has Bastet sent to them, they have -1 leadership and must reroll successful armor saves. Pretty handy. Now, being a Lamian vampire, she has some of their bloodline powers. Night Creator means when she's by herself, enemies can only shoot, charge, or cast a spell on her on a roll of 5+, otherwise they must choose a different target. If she's in a unit, she doesn't get this ability. Now, she also has a fun Lamian one, Seduction. She can cause 1 enemy model in base count of her that is not immune to psychology at the start of the combat phase to take an unmodified leadership test. If they pass, they are fine. They fail? Congratulations! This character now fights for Neferata! You move into base contact with her, and yeah, it now fights for you. At the start of the model's owner's turn, they can try and break free, but if they fail, they continue to stay with Neferata. And she can have multiple models following her if multiple models fail the test. Also, if at the game you control any models, they do count as being destroyed for victory points. The other basic one she has is Innocent Lost. She always strikes first in close combat. Now, of course, being Neferata, she has a unique bloodline power. Blood Kiss. Once per game, when Neferata kills an enemy character in close combat, she can give them the Blood Kiss and make them her servant. The model is now a vampire thrall, keeps all magic items and equipment they had. If they want a steed, that steed becomes a nightmare. If they want a monster, it just takes a monster reaction test like normal. There is a caveat: undead, demons, and any character who is not counted as alive are immune to this power, like Lord Crook. That it? Well, no, she's a vampire, so has all the undead rules that come with that. She's also a level 3 wizard. She knows 2 necromancy spells, and a third unique one to her: Shadow Blood. The spell has a power cost, but it does not use power cards base. Instead, it has a casting cost of 1 to 3 of Neferata's wounds, though she can use power cards to reinforce it, making it harder to dispel. It has a range of 24 inches, as Neferata uses her own blood as a weapon. The first unit it hits takes d6 plus 2 strength 5 hits, and any models it killed are turned into zombies, put into base contact fighting unit they were once part of. It also counts as a flaming attack against flammable units. It's also only cast once per turn. Also, the Rune Bee of Lamia will regenerate one of the runes from this. And yeah, that is Neferata in her debut. She was definitely an interesting lord. Had the usual Lamian tactics, with some nice touchman and powers. She was a fun girl, and I did like using her. And yeah, she too vanished from the army books at this point. Now, she did briefly show up during 6th edition, as on Warhammer's website, they actually did have rules for a bunch of the old characters for a little while, but they also very quickly went away, and she was not in another army book till, well, the end times. So then, on to the end times. And welcome back, Nagash. You got one heck of a model upgrade, sir, and yeah, he's looking good. So, you know what's kind of funny about him? His stat line is the same as he had back in 4th edition, it's not changed. He is, however, 1,000 points, so that went up. He's a lore choice, and, well, he's just a level 5 wizard now base without needing a magic item. He also knows the laws of death, light, Nehekara, vampires, and undeath. Special rules base, he's a large target. Obviously. He causes terror, and is undead. He is also the Arc Necromancer, and as such can reroll the miscast table result if he miscasts. He is also Death Magic Incarnate. So Nagash and all friendly models that are undead within 12 inches of him suffer 2 less runes due to the unstable special rule. And this is on top any other modifiers they have that reduce the runes taken. Very handy. And finally, he is the Supreme Lord of the Undead. If Nagash is casting a spell that would summon models using the Law of Undeath, he summons triple that amount instead. So yeah, let's say you were casting the base one, Rise the Gravecall. If he summoned 100 points of models, he would summon 300 points instead. Yeah, Nagash just having the ability to go, and big unit out of nowhere is pretty potent. Still, what about his magic items for the time? Well, he still has a Staff of Power, it's now got a name, Alakanash. Instead of storing 4 magic cards, it can now store 4 power dice. And it allows him to cast a spell of up to 10 dice instead of the usual max of 6. He can also use it in combat, with each dice being used to grant one of his attacks Heroic Killing Blow. The Black Armor is also back, though it's now called Morkane, and it gives him a 4+ armor save and ward save. He also has the 9 books of Nagash, and these, grant him access to 9 spells. One must always be Rise of the Gravecall, but then you can take the other 8 from the other laws he has access to. You just have to declare at the start of the game what you're doing, so you can say 3 Necromantic, 3 Nekakara, 2 Light, and then do your rolling to see what you got. He also has the Mortis Blade, it's also got a name, Zephet Neptar. It still grants him +1 strength, but it's not draining anymore. Instead, it's now doing D3 wounds instead. So, Nagash. They basically looked at his 4th edition version, and basically just improved everything by his stat line, where they went, Yeah, that'll do. Now, returning in End Times as well is Neferata. And she definitely had a major image shift there. She's, also being a Mortarch, has a Dread Abyssal mount now, which is combined onto her profile. So she's now 650 points, Movement 6, Vamp Skill 8, Let's Skill 6, Strength 5, Toughness 6, Runes 8, Initiative 9, Tax 8, Leadership 10, and it's a 6+ armor save, and it's a lore choice. Yeah, better in some ways, and also worse in some ways. Magic items, well, she still has the Jagger of Debt still, and it's changed slightly. When she runes a model during a challenge, she reduces their strength, toughness, attack by 1 for the remainder of the game. It doesn't stack anymore, though. Her staff is now Akenseth, the Staff of Pain, which buffs any magic missile or hex spell she casts to do D3 strength 5 hits on top of whatever the spell would do normally. Very handy. What about special rules? Well, for the basic ones, always strikes first, fly, large target, undead, vampiric, and terror. She is still a level 3 wizard who knows Law of Death, Shadow, Vampires, and Undeath, so it's a variety still. She now has Feast of the Souls. If she kills a model in close combat, at the end of the turn, roll a d6. On a 6, she heals a wound. Yeah, the Ruby of Lamia is gone and that's basically its replacement. Also, remember the Blood Kiss? Well, now as the Mortarch of Blood, when she slays a character in a challenge, once per game, she puts a vampire within 12 inches with no upgrades instead. Yeah, I mean, similar but not quite as good. Finally, she has Twilight's Allure. Enemies suffer -1 penalty to hit her, with the sole exception of High Queen Khalida, who, yeah, that's very fitting considering their backstories. So yes, Neferata's return is kind of interesting, and she's kept some of her original identity. The stat line's, again, as I said, better in some ways, worse in others. And while she's not bad, I still prefer her original outing in 5th edition. But yes, that was the 2 of them. Neither in Old World at present, and who knows if there ever will be again, as they're still kicking around in Age of Sigmar, and feel while that is happening, that is where those 2 are going to live for the time being.